existence.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Radiant Black Podcast. I'm your host, Bash, and I'm joined by...
Oh, we're saying names. We're joined by Matt. Radiant Matt, even.
Charlie.
And Ali.
Today, we're going to discuss the first issue of Dead Lucky, and we're actually going to cover spoilers on this episode, so make sure you read the issue first before you go any further. And just a reminder that we did announce our giveaway on social media today for Dead Lucky. We're giving away 3 copies of Dead Lucky #1, cover A, and it's US Canada only, just like usual. All you have to do to enter is, just follow the tweet if you're on Twitter, and one of them will be a Discord only to give to the Radiant Black Discord community. So if you're on the Discord, just check out the Radiant giveaway tab. And without further ado, let's discuss the Dead Lucky #1. And just a disclosure, everybody here was able to read this about a month ago because after we interviewed Melissa Flores on the podcast, we were fortunate enough to be able to get a preview copy. Thanks, Melissa. I think the streak of just awesome comic book design continues with the Massive Verse book. I don't know if it was one of the artists. I want to say it's Michael Basuto that did the design, like the terminal command prompt and everything. Yeah.
Sounds right. Sounds like it's up his alley. And I thought it was cool too.
Very noticeable right away. Like you just open it and you can tell right away. It's a different aesthetic. Every single book is just a little different. Gives it its own little unique thing.
Makes me think of Halo 3 achievements. Searching for those terminals.
Michael likes his digital vibe, you know?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. We like it too.
Yeah.
Cool. It's awesome. So yeah, just a good nice way to start it. And the creative team we've got on this issue, obviously writer Melissa Flores, art by French Carlomagno, colors by Mattia Iacono, and letters by the incredible Becca Carey, who I just want to say shout out to Becca Carey for doing the letters on New Champion of Shazam. Just such a great book, and it was such a pleasant surprise to see her working on that as well. So obviously, the newest addition to the Massiverse, and if you haven't heard our episode about the Dead Lucky already, then I'll give you a quick synopsis right now on what the Dead Lucky is about. So
or you can go check out the interview, and it's a really great interview, and come catch us later. But yeah,
you should check that out. But it's about San Francisco changing, and we have a tech company called Morrow building the city of the future with peacekeeper robots, and the Salvation Gang is rebelling against them. We have Bibiana Lopez Yang, who's changing too. She came back from Afghanistan with PTSD and the ability to control electrical currents. If she can hold it together, she might be the hero San Francisco needs, but against an enemy this big, it isn't enough to be good. She'll have to be lucky. Pretty cool. I like that. So yeah, let's dive right in. I just want to say, and I think I mentioned this to you guys when we all got access to the issue, is the first page of this comic book is one of the best.
Amazing.
Like it hits you hard.
If Image was still doing second prints, this would make a great second print cover.
I love that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually the first thing I said, so thank you. Yeah. We just have a flashback, it seems like, while our main character, Bibi, is at therapy. We see her flashback to something, and it's a pretty intense scene. Like I said, you open the comic book, that's the first page you see. First of all, first impressions, beautiful colors by Mattia, beautiful, amazing artwork by French. The color palette for this book, it has a unique color palette that's kind of different than all the other Massiverse books. I feel like each book has its own unique color palette, and with Rogue Sun, we've had a lot of reds and oranges. With this one, we have a lot of pink, purple, and oranges, and I love it. And obviously with Radiant Black, we have a little bit more of everything, but mainly the black, white, and blue. So yeah, that's really cool to see just the general aesthetic of the book. What would you guys think?
Yeah, the lighting almost tells a story. When we see the therapy session, you can see that there's I didn't notice until you mentioned the different art style, but looking at it now, you can see that there's a lot of the way that the light is playing in the image is really interesting, and you can see that there's a big there's curtains, and you can see the light shining in. It's distinct that the light is still shining in, but there's curtains covered, which could be not a state, could be a statement or an allegory for Bibi's personal state, where she doesn't want to let the light in. She's putting up curtains, maybe closing herself off.
Yeah, I like that for sure. Yeah, these first 2 pages are super good at kind of just getting you your first taste for this character, just getting you caught up to like just some things she's been through. On the next page, you see kind of a tablet summarizing some of the things she's done. But I love just the subtle hints, like Melissa was going through, like she doesn't like her back turned to the door, and like she doesn't like these little things, and I just like it. It's not so like in your face, but it's just good little hints there.
And don't forget about the like literally the first 2 panels. It's her touching her dog tags, and then you see the sugar skull tattoo on her arm. It's a great way to get introduced to the character and know so much about them just from the first 2 pages right away.
Yeah, not just that, but she's pretty rigid in the way that she's sitting, so you can tell obviously she's a pretty intense individual. Get a little moment where it kind of seems like the doctor's being condescending, but she apologizes for that, and that's where we get a look at the iPad, and it shows a little dossier basically of Bibiana and her history, and we see that she has some crazy training, including some things that are redacted, which always means that's pretty intense, top level shit. And so we look at the notes, and it has probable PTSD diagnosis, resistant to therapy, significant trauma after incident, possible dissociation and delusion, likes making dark jokes. I like this. I know this is pretty standard things like this, but I really like the way that this was done in the context. And yeah, we see that like you guys said, all the things that she's been doing.
My only note is like, does she need to make the line drawing the picture to Bibiana when the report is on Bibi? That's my only, and that's just a nitpick.
Good point.
It looks super clean, and it does put an emphasis on this. Like she's connecting the dots, but like we know it's all Bibi.
That's a good point. I didn't even catch up on that.
I have silly jackass nitpicks from someone that didn't have to put in the effort.
Love it,
but it was really good. But yeah, just that.
Gotta love it. I do want to say, for me personally, skipping just to this next page here, in the third panel, something I notice immediately and I absolutely adore about this book is the fourth wall breaking and the personal narration. Like when she looks over to you, and it kind of reminded me of I was telling Bash this, like Lightyear. Like they when you have an organic story for it, it really just works for me, and I just loved it every time.
It continues throughout this whole issue, and I hope to see it
for sure
throughout the series going
when
forward.
She's talking to herself.
It's ambiguous.
Yeah, she's talking to us too. Like,
is it even
looking?
Is it fourth wall, or does she literally just talk to herself?
It's ambiguous. It could be. It could be both.
I took it as I think it's narration. Maybe not fourth wall quite, but like that first panel especially, it looks like I took it as she's looking at us in a way, but she is talking to herself. So I don't know. I think you could interpret it a couple different ways, but I love
we have to revisit this at the end of the
We'll need more evidence. Yeah,
because there's a little something that happens that might change the way we interpret this at least. But yeah, no, it's definitely something good to point out, and I love the stare is intense too. I don't know, I agree. This was pretty cool moment. I think it was well done. But yeah, back to the colors. I just want to say, like, Mattia killing it on colors, truly, like, and we'll appreciate that even more on the next page. But here you see again another peek at the iPad where it says under, she circles at the therapist and draws another line, Matt's favorite lines, and it says talks to herself as a coping mechanism, could make for an interesting case study.
Right now I'm sure French is drawing me with stink lines.
But what do you guys think of the city of San Francisco right now? It looks amazing. We're secret look at the financial district. Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yeah. You can tell just a little updated. Like there's been some work done for sure. Like it doesn't really look like a very modern city. It doesn't look like, I don't know, any modern city in the US that I know. But I love her hair. I just wanted to say too.
Yeah. It has very like cyberpunk element almost.
It looks nice, but like it's also like not super friendly, right? Like it is nice and it looks colorful, but you could also, it kind of looks deceptive. Like Moro's name has to be all over the place.
I think that's the idea, no? Like there's like gentrification and shit going on. Yeah. Like you see this like weird mush of shit where you see this big building in the middle that kind of doesn't fit in with the rest of the aesthetic of the city, and I think that's part of the idea of what's going on.
They're replacing the aesthetic and getting rid of what they feel doesn't fit. I like
it. Not just the aesthetic, but the people, the communities. You know what I mean? Like,
slowly, piece by piece. Yeah.
When you said gentrified, that's what they should call the Five, or like the Rogues Gallery in Radiant Black. Call them the Gentrified. Like Sheer could come on, boom.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I noticed there's a lot of these like even also just little subtle thing, or kind of subtle, but like the cop like he takes the paper, where are you going, and it's just like all this like as a veteran I couldn't imagine just like they thank you, but it's a very unappreciative thank you, like it's kind of just like, oh thanks, like whatever, wait,
It's
you're a
almost
veteran kind of.
like automatic, you know? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you mean
yeah.
It's just
It's
veterans
just
and
clearance.
free,
Like it's like here you
it
go.
just doesn't. It's meaningless almost, and yeah, no, that's got to sting for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, no, we already get a sense of like what the city is like here, and obviously we see that there's a lot of collision between, culture, themes, just in general, a lot of things going on right now in San Francisco, and that's part of the tension because between the two factions, right, between Salvation Gang and Morrow. So what we're gonna see next is after, yeah, right, like you guys said, there's this like, kind of condescension between the couple almost. Like he even says, so it's like a Lieutenant Dan kind of situation. Gotcha. War's a bitch, huh?
Yeah,
Like it's like what
yeah,
the fuck? Like that's like very
yeah. Like,
insensitive. Just I don't know. It's very condescending,
yeah,
insensitive. It's like
And it shows the culture only really knows like the movie version. They don't really know the real version of PTSD, right? It's just become like this is how we look at it in the culture. Oh yeah, Lieutenant Dan, right? It's just a joke almost, or just like a product that's been sold, a story that's been manufactured, as opposed to this, which is a much more grounded take on it, even though we've got superheroes and giant mechs.
it's really strange to be doing it to the people who've like fought for the, like the freedom and just fought for the country in general. But yeah, we see as she goes into the tunnel
I
that
love.
this whole conflict is even worse. But my favorite one of the whole is graffiti everywhere, right? Like Morrow, Salvation, it's just like it looks like almost like gang torn. But
Yeah,
then you see behind this van in the middle of nowhere, which I thought was funny, just says "fuck Morrow" with a skull. I
yeah.
just thought that was funny. The first time I saw it, I was just like, cool, like that's
Good
that's how it
catch.
is.
BB is
So
Bartman confirmed, but yeah, El Barto. I have my Simpsons references, but yeah, no, it's a good catch. And I don't know, it just felt like there's a video game where the entrance is like this. I feel like maybe like Dead Rising 3 or something when you go through these hallways, or maybe I can't think of the game. Also, the Moro logo, I like it's so smart the way it's designed, where it's like the M is missing a piece. Like you have like it's like that square is falling into place, but it's not really there. It's still an M, right? Like you don't need this, and the city doesn't need all these changes that Moro's
Yeah,
trying to push
yeah,
into them.
yeah.
that's a good catch, yeah. And yeah, so it's pretty intense because right as she gets out of the tunnel, she's back in Chinatown, which is where her parents' store is, China XQ, which is a really cool name, and we already talked about that with Melissa during our interview, so check that out. But yeah, I really like this store, and I like her parents. I feel like, that they're definitely warm, but there's definitely also a bit of sternness to them.
Yeah, I got that too. I like that.
Yeah, so immediately when she gets back into the restaurant, like there's a cop there, and so it's like this gives you a sense of like, okay, we're getting to like a police state level here where it's like, okay, not maybe they haven't shown the rest of it that makes me say why that is, because there's more that it's going to reinforce that statement. But yeah, but that's the beginning of it where it's like there's questioning everywhere, and it's kind of like even mafia, like where they're telling the store like, oh, like what are you gonna do without us? You're gonna need us to protect you because of the gang and everything. And that's when her parents are letting her know like, look, we've been around a while, and the gang's only here because I thought that was really brave for her dad to eventually say that. He's like, like the gang's only here because you're here.
And you
Yeah.
you
Yep.
kind of mentioned it earlier with the gentrification. They're trying to get them out. They're trying to get them to move out of the store. I'm assuming so that Morrow can, improve, quote unquote, on this neighborhood too. I'm glad that they're taking a stand and keeping their ground.
Before the thick bots take over, those are the thick robots. They
So
remind me.
it smells like Metal Gear, no?
Yeah,
Metal Gear
Yeah,
yeah,
Solid?
totally Metal
Yeah.
Gear. Yeah,
The eyes
I
on
remember
this.
Melissa said they got some inspiration from Boston Dynamics. And if you guys ever seen those videos, like they've got some crazy robots.
don't they have like the bomb dogs or whatever with the robots?
Yes,
Robot dogs.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
yeah.
that definitely I can see the inspiration. It's cool because it's like real life shit. Like we think that could never happen. Like we're scary close to that. Like if Elon lets loose, who knows what's gonna happen?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're gonna get there for sure.
Yeah. And
You
plus,
know,
Melissa's a huge gamer, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to say that some of these are gaming inspired. You know what I mean?
For
So,
sure.
or
Yeah.
there's some gaming inspiration, sorry.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, I love the inclusion of the Lucky Chinese cat and the mariachi, like with the skull mariachi right in front of BB in the store. It's another little great addition.
Dead and Lucky, the cat's luck, and then the dead, like the day of the dead, Deus de
I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot. Good catch. Wow. Yeah.
Well, nice. You pointed out, I saw it, but then when you mentioned it the way you mentioned it, I was like, oh wait, Dead Lucky. Like, God, that's clever. And you can see it's in the restaurant where it's the fusion of the cultures. You see how it's those fused cultures that gave us BB. So like, I feel extra attached to this character before I even read the issue because of how great Melissa was in that interview, and you can see how much of her heart she poured into the character. So this already works. Like, we didn't even mention we talked a little bit about the restaurant, but just that little stuff like Chai Mexico, like, or I probably butchered that, but like if that was a restaurant downtown, I'd be going there tonight. Like, it's just, you can already feel this like world, and you can feel the passion poured into it and the personal take on it. So it's really adds something special to the series.
I mean, birria baos sound delicious. If we ever get like a Dead Lucky box, I would like a couple of frozen ones just to try.
Yes. Yeah. Sir. Imagine if C2E2 became like a yearly celebration of Radiant Black, and they just did it, and then eventually we had like expanding foods, and we had like Martian, you know, like
they can make a little Chi Mexico, little pop-up.
If they do it next year, we're going for sure.
You can see also, like you guys said, there's a picture of her former platoon on near the cat and the skull with oh yeah. So that's pretty cool right there. We see that attachment right there. She even has that somber look towards it. But yeah, like you guys said, there's the restaurant, which is very wholesome, really nice place, and a good catch from Matt and Addie, where it's a fusion of her cultures and kind of inspired also her.
And there's like a shrine for family members too, right? Behind her in the same image with the platoon and stuff. So she's maybe looking back and thinking of family members she's lost and stuff like that as well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's bots, these what they call guardian bots outside, and they're according to them keeping the Salvation Gang from claiming the district. But it's kind of creepy. I mean, it's not kind of creepy. It's really creepy. So I totally understand why there's a lot of tension in the city and stuff. Like, it truly does feel like Metal Gear Solid, like if you've ever played that, like walking the streets. And it's very interesting to me. And I actually like laughed out loud when I saw this, that she calls her ex the X on her phone. Like, that's his contact name. It's the X, you know what I mean?
The only one worth keeping in her phone, right? It's the X worth talking to. The other X's, I'm sure their names are gone. But I love this dynamic with Eddie. I think it's really interesting. It's almost like, like Babs and Dick, except like, there's, it's over and no one's really, there's, or it's not.
Well,
I think it's.
Yeah, you don't see that.
The next page, we get an introduction to one of the first police officers of this town, assuming one of the good guys here, and it's they're being radioed in. It's Officer Garcia, and that's when she encounters Bibiana for the first time. She just she catches her walking across the street, and that's when her partner gets back into the car with the burrito. Is it burrito buns? Yeah, the burrito buns, which are amazing apparently, and they look and sound fantastic. Yeah, they're freaking amazing. So yeah,
and they're trying to get rid of it, right? Like, it shows like this delicious meal is part of what they bring to the community, and we're gonna close it down for what, like Impossible Whoppers or something, right? Like, it's you're removing culture from the area and what makes it good. And also I do want to mention that the cameras on the patrol bots, it's like a pinhole lens, like what you would view an eclipse through, right? So it shows how narrow their perspective is, and they're just controlled by everybody. They don't really need eyes; they just need a camera to scan and a thin hole at that.
Yeah. Eddie's an interesting character too. Like, once you actually meet him, he's a lot nicer than. I mean, things are on better terms than you would expect them to be for someone who calls someone else the X on their phone.
True,
for sure. Maybe that's her name on his phone. Could be a mutual thing. But yeah, no, I love this. I love this whole dynamic. He's kind of just the handy guy behind it. But I love the showcase of her powers too, and I'm really curious to like in future, like dive a little deeper into her origin, figure out how she got these powers, all this, because all this stuff is really, really intriguing me.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get like more backstory on them, and I think there'll be like some event that will lead it so that Morrow can like swoop in, like, oh, this happened, something bad will happen, something really dangerous, and like we need more protection, i.e. like Ultron with Tony, like we need an armored suit for the world, that kind of deal. Yeah, I think that's a good call, and I really like the idea that Eddie plays is kind of like he's the civilian, but they're still kind of on like even playing field or whatever, where it's like when people come back, it's like you don't understand, like he knew her before all this, and also I presumably like right? Like when they dated and she was right. Like I assume last
Yep.
day and first. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it didn't come out, but obviously they're really close and they've got a strong bond. So it's a
I guess
civilian.
we'll
This,
find out.
yeah,
Yeah. Maybe it's
he,
part of the story or something.
yeah, Eddie probably knows her. Like a lot of our friends probably know us better than a lot of our family members, even where they're that close. They seems like they've been through the trenches, even without being through the literal trenches together. It seems like they've been through a lot together.
Yeah, and and they seem very close, and it's even to the point where he's like, yeah, he's working on Ghost, right? He's doing repairs, flying final fiber resin coating, which does not affect conductivity. But yeah, no, so we're back out on the streets of San Francisco at night, and we see that it is pretty intense. It's very police statey. There's like all those bots, those guard bots out there, and at one point even they start to leave, and that's where the cops from earlier notice that the guard bots are leaving, and they're wondering why, and that's when we get our first introduction to Salvation, our explosive introduction to Salvation game.
And let's not forget that was the first preview. That page was the first preview of Dead Lucky that Michael posted on Twitter months ago. That little guy at the top right on the surfboard or whatever.
Oh,
remember that?
Yeah.
No, it's an awesome page for sure. It really shows off all the colors in the sky, like all the decorations. The explosion's awesome, and it leads to a pretty awesome introduction as well.
Yeah, it's getting intense because Salvation Gang just made their entrance and they blew shit up, and it's kind of crazy because at the same time Morrow just left, and what the hell? But yeah, Officer Garcia is kind of struggling to get things under control, but that's when we get the first page reveal, and I gotta say this was so cool, gave me kind of like goosebumps because it reminded me of that first page reveal from Radiant Black #1 when we see Nathan wearing the costume for the first time, which is gorgeous artwork by Melissa Flores. And here it's just the same where you don't see the costume from the cover yet. Like, you already saw that in page 1 though, so there's that, and that was quite a reveal. But you do see her inside Ghost, and they're trying to control the situation. I just thought, wow, what a reveal. What do you guys think?
It was a pretty cool reveal. I mean, Ghost looks menacing. He's bigger than I expected, to be honest. He's like towering over everything. And just the moment Bibiana and Ghost show up, they think it's Morrow, but obviously it's clearly not. So they're about to get their ass kicked right now.
Yeah, she was a little offended there for a second, but no,
Yeah.
no, this fight was absolutely awesome, and again, the colors on display, the explosions especially. I don't know why the oranges, all the oranges they use, like when he shoots the rocket launcher, all the purples behind him, that looks really cool. And then we see some sort of, I'm guessing some of her old troop mates. Or something, like the souls, like talking to her, kind of acting like as the AI, telling her we're under fire, we need to go. So yeah, what do you guys think of that?
I interpreted that as like it was like a flashback from like their time in combat. I didn't really see that as like Force Ghosty kind of them talking to her. Not that that's what you implied, but I think
that's kind of what I thought. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm a little more on like Charlie's side of this, because all the speech bubbles from Ghost were like in pink, and then the speech bubbles from the Ghost are also in pink. So my I guess theory or whatever is that when we asked Melissa if Ghost had a personality and she was kind of like iffy about it, she didn't go one way or another if he's sentient or not. I think the Force ghosts of her troop mates are the personality of Ghost right now. That's just my theory so far.
It could be the Force thing. It could also be like, since she has electrical current powers, that the current sense and like triggers to her
bioelectricity
brains.
or something.
Yeah, which lets her see them.
Choosing a form of her choosing, kind of thing.
Yeah. So either way, it was pretty cool, and I love seeing that page where you're seeing her use her powers for the first time, where it's kind of like a muscle reflex almost.
Yeah.
This looked awesome as well.
I do just want to go back one page back when she first shoots one of the Salvation Army people on a motorcycle with her electricity, and you see like his skeleton inside. That was dope. That was a dope little detail they put in there. A good display of her powers.
Yeah, reminds me of like Darth Sidious when he like shots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, and that's where we get. You can tell that she's still not. I don't know if I don't know. I feel like she's still not 100% used to her powers here. That's probably why she doesn't have her main. But yeah, it doesn't seem she's like too, 100% ready to do this yet, but I do admire her bravery in the situation, and she handles the situation really well. She manages to get the gang members to run away and escape, and Eddie runs at her and, to check on if she's okay, touches her, and then he gets zapped. He's zapped out, and that's when Officer Garcia encounters Bibi for the first time. And I gotta say, big moment here for Officer Garcia, who chooses to let Bibi go and will take care of Eddie. Like, that's
Totally.
some faith here. I think she has. I think they're gonna be friends in the future.
You can see in her character where like she's the good cop in a situation that she can't control. She probably chose to become a cop before Mara was moving in and they bought everyone out, and it's like she's still a good person, but what's she gonna do? And if she quits, who's gonna replace her, right? So you don't even. I can see the arc there, and it's really interesting. Also, the way that with Bibi, when Eddie goes to grab her, being in combat and stuff like that, and shell shock or whatever conditions you may get from the battlefield, like it might be harder for her to feel safe. And those powers, she can have her defenses up far longer than your average superhero. So that could be part of why Eddie got zapped there, where she obviously didn't mean it 'cause she knows Eddie, but she's got into combat, and when you leave combat in the military, sometimes you never really leave, and even in this situation, your reaction time might be stifled.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's once she escapes, we see that we're back at the next day. We're at Team XQ, and one of the police officers are back at the restaurant, and they're asking everyone questions. That's where we see Officer Garcia taking a glance at the pictures of the platoon of Bibi and her platoon members.
These two kind of look like the spirits almost, no?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was thinking too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those were two people.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say too that Officer Garcia knows who she is now.
Yeah.
Totally.
Sure.
Yeah, I think she has suspicions because that's when, they say, oh, like they seem to want to help. That's when the parents were saying that, and then that's when Officer Garcia replies like, oh, if they'd be out in the open offering the services like tomorrow. But I think she also understands, deep down why
It's
Viviana's hiding.
It's a little weird too because earlier in the issue, when Officer Garcia was first introduced, she was on the radio with I guess her superior officer or whatever, and she said that she screwed up and that's why she got this assignment of protecting the Morrow lady. So I'm curious what led her to this and how that's gonna reveal more about her character and how she's gonna relate to Bibiana in the future.
So with the dog tags at the end, did he Eddie gives her the note, right? And he says that sorry for swiping your dog tags, but this is to help curb your electrical impulse. You may not have your buddies anymore, but I promise you got me. Did he do something with the tags? Did he put a coating on them?
I think so. The technology is to me, I took it as the technology is kind of super advanced right now. They're just making these it was kind of beyond our technology. I don't know how advanced their technology is or how much it has to relate to her powers directly. I'm not sure about that.
Well,
Okay.
I think he definitely did something because the issue started with her touching the dog tags and it ended with her touching dog tags and then transforming into a suit. So I think he definitely did something to it that either helps her or causes her to get her full Dead Lucky suit.
I think it's interesting too, dog tags. There's your ID tags, it's your identification. When you're in combat and stuff like that. And I like how Eddie kind of modified it to even better, suit Bibi. It's kind of like how he's been, presumably, right? Unless he's an evil villain, he's been a really beneficial impact on her and her identity, right? And he's been a great guy. And a lot of people that you do spend time with tend to define you in many ways. And this, is kind of like a nice little touch where, her dog tags, she's a soldier, and now she has her own personal touch where she can do good with it.
I think it's important to note too, those aren't hers. Those are her fallen friends. Yeah, because she's wearing her own, and then he took her friend's dog tags. So I think Charlie was right earlier when he said there's definitely a connection between her two dead friends from the troop and her electric powers. There has to be some kind of connection there.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we'll see more of where that comes from, but in the future, I guess. But I just gotta say, looking at that costume, it's so sweet. I can't wait to see her in her costume more. I thought this was a very, very strong first issue. I thought the artwork was fantastic. The colors were beautiful, great letters, strong writing, and I'm really excited for the series and where it's gonna go. And we're kind of spoiled right now with the Massiverse because between this, Rogue Sun, Radiant Black, the Shift mini story that we had throughout the Image books, and Radiant Red, and everything else that we've been getting, and Radiant Red's coming back, so there's that to look forward to. But yeah, and Radiant Pink's coming soon, so we're just spoiled right now in the Massiverse, and yeah, I just can't wait.
Absolutely spoiled, but we're here for it.
We're not complaining.
We're here
sure.
for all
We
of
love
it. All of it.
And read the letter by Melissa in the back.
Oh yes,
the
that
letters.
is awesome. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
so we already have a letter section, dead letters, but yeah, it's very heartfelt. There's a lot of gratitude and it's very emotional. I really love the letter that Melissa wrote. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm happy for her, and I can't recommend this book enough. That's why we're giving away 3 copies because we love it so much. And yeah, looking forward to issue number 2. Title is This is Trauma. So it looks like we're going to be diving even deeper into the trauma of the character, obviously. And yeah, highly recommend. I love the Morrow imagery in the back at the end of the comic book. Yeah, very, very
It's like
cool.
they're behind the book and like we're overwriting it. Like it's like they're hacking the Morrow system even. Like there's a storyteller telling even in like the insert pages just to like kind of be like set dressing almost. They're getting you already have like a different feel for this book. It's incredibly well done.
I know a lot of people have been buzzing about this book coming out this week. A lot of people were looking forward to it. I grabbed all the variants already except the La Fuente one. I wasn't able to find that one. It's the 1-in-50 ratio, but all the other ones I grabbed, including the Tom Welland variant, because come on, who doesn't want that helmet variant? Gotta finish the set. But yeah, highly recommend this comic book if you haven't checked it out yet, and if you've been hesitant because it's not Radiant Black or you're unsure, where to start, blah blah blah. Just start right here. You don't even have to read Supermassive or anything. You just start right
really
here.
Good.
Yeah, it's really good. Fantastic art, beautiful colors. Couldn't recommend it enough. But I just want to interrupt with a special announcement saying that Kyle Higgins just tweeted Thursday Ember's Tap House will be joined by some Massive friends. So obviously, if you're in the Chicago area, if you're a big fan of Massiveverse, check out the meet where they're meeting at the bar from the actual comic where Nathan got his ass whooped. And they just tweeted a picture of the bar, the meetup, the info, and there's another picture with the cutouts of all the characters, like big, look like life-size cutouts. And there's a new mystery character in the middle who looks freaking amazing, kind of like Spider-Man and Noir looking radiant. Look, it looks really cool. So yeah, there's a new character, hype, and if you haven't seen it, by the time this comes out, and you just heard it here for the first time, like we just found out, pretty excited. Looks really badass, and
that does look awesome. Just saw that. Shows it pretty clearly too. That was gonna be kind of
very exciting stuff. And Dead Lucky's already there
blue
too.
now?
All those.
Yeah. What if that's the new Radiant? Like, what if that's like Marshall and the other ones like maybe
That'd be cool. Like
that'd be cool.
Or it's like the big bad. Like that's what if he just reveals like that's like the leader of like whatever war, like the robot war, the Catalyst war. Like what if that's the big bad? They reveal it in like a bar as a stand.
This is pure spec, but the glow around the eye and Nathan's chest is gone. So maybe they separated part of the power or something. Because like you see the glow in all the other, or maybe it's just the light angle. I don't know. I could be wrong. But like you know what I mean? The color.
I feel you because even Shift and the new character have the glow in their eyes, but Radiant Black doesn't have any glow about him. You might be right.
It's just I don't know. Cool. Could be exciting stuff.
One of those cardboard cutouts, real quick.
So. Oh yeah, to put it right next to my Invincible,
Yeah.
And so
Melissa was saying thanks for taking a chance on a new writer, and like it's really cool when it pays off, and even if it doesn't pay off, it's nice to always you never know what you're gonna like. And I wouldn't have read this if it was just like its own thing. Like I might have if Bash recommended it or something, but I probably wouldn't have picked this up because there's just like 1,000 books out that I want to read. But it's tied into the series. Like I've been hyped on this since Massiverse ended. We got the tease of this, and it's awesome that Deadlock is going to show up there. So yeah, it's been awesome, and I'm glad that it's part of the Massiverse and we get to talk about it on a regular basis. I hope this series runs for a long time.
Cannot wait for this whole series and just everything like Melissa's just personal investment into this really just makes it something special, and just anything else from the Massiverse is just awesome, and just cannot wait for more. Can't wait to see what else comes out.
Yeah, and now that the first arc of Rogue Sun is completed, we can actually get Ryan paired on the show and talked to him about all things Rogue Sun. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully that'll work out. I'm not gonna reach out to him just yet. I'll wait till after C2E2. Give him time to recover from the con and just everything, the hype and everything. It's gonna be an exciting time, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get announcements then. Like we said earlier, we just got the special drop with the new character, so already so much to look forward to.
I'm sure Carl and Jarvis already made the Radiant Black suit like a few months ago, and they're just gonna unveil it. He's just gonna hover in there like Tony at those expos and stuff.
I mean, we joked that they were building, right? I joked that they were building a real life existence, and it turns out it was true. They were trying to do that immersive existence narrative experience at the bar. So there you go.
Existence would be like the raddest rave ever raved. It would be so sick if they ever did that. But anyways, I digress.
It would be the most the Igor Monty there, just with the colors,
doing face paints, like face painting people, making new colors as he does. Yeah.
Blacklight face paint.
That would be so amazing. Anyway, for those of you who are going to the event at Embers with the Massiverse team, enjoy and let us know how it is. Get in touch and have a great time. Yeah. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us today. Stay radiant.